Tuesday, Thursday, we check in with Tony Messenger, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. You can read him at stltoday.com. Good morning, Tony Messenger.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. I don't want to turn this into all Eric Greitens all the time, but the judge yesterday ruled that the May 14th date is going to stand. I guess that wasn't that shocking, right?
No, I mean, I wasn't shocked by it, and the judge made it clear he's not about to turn this into a political trial. He pushed back on Greitens' attorneys a little bit, saying you've got to get this done before the House, decides what they're doing in their investigation. And Judge Rex Burleson said he doesn't care what's going on out west. This is a criminal trial, and it'll be treated as such. So right now there's a May 14th court date, and a lot of things can happen between now and then. We'll see if that these things have a way of getting pushed back, but it's not going to be any earlier.
Yeah. Is he the one going to rule on whether it's going to be a jury trial or a judge trial?
Yes. The judge rules on all of those sorts of things, and he indicated something interesting yesterday. He said he's not sure that Governor Greitens or any defendant has a guaranteed right to choose bench trial over jury trial, but ultimately he's going to decide. The governor hasn't specifically filed the motion asking for a bench trial instead of a jury trial, but has indicated that's coming.
Yeah.
And so ultimately this is likely going to be similar to the Stockley trial in that the judge is going to preside over a trial, hear all the evidence, and ultimately be the jury.
All right, let's leave that there for now. You wrote a column earlier about this nurse who is struggling to rebuild her life. What's this story about?
Yeah, her name is Inez Bordeaux, and what really attracted me to the story is here's a woman who made a mistake and knows she made a mistake and admits she made a mistake. She was several years ago unemployed, on unemployment. It was after she had been in a domestic violence situation, left her husband to get away from that, and lost her job and was just struggling as all of a sudden a single mom, and she was a nurse and she had lost her job. Anyway, she's on unemployment. She ends up getting a nursing job. But as I have written about many different times in my career, one of the biggest problems with our safety net programs here in Missouri and in most places is that you either make the right amount or you don't. There's no sort of sliding scale that helps encourage people to go from welfare to work or whatever. So she was working, got a job, and was using child care assistance from the state to take care of her 4 kids, gets this job, and all of a sudden she's making $57 too much to earn the child care benefit. $1,600 a month is what her child care was costing, and that just goes away overnight. And so what she did is she made a decision. She continued to take unemployment. She went to the unemployment office, said she was still unemployed, and took that money. She's not the only person in the world that's ever done that. She knew it was wrong. She thought that's what she had to do to take care of her kids. So eventually, this catches up to her. She gets indicted. She stops taking the money. She gets indicted by a grand jury, and then she's driving back home from a family trip in Texas, gets arrested in Oklahoma for speeding, and all of a sudden, this warrant for her arrest for the felony stealing of the unemployment benefits turns her life upside down. And the real interesting twist in the story is the prosecution made a mistake also. She should not have been charged with a felony based on how the law was written at that time. And it's something that's affected thousands of people in Missouri, and many of them are still in prison. The law had been changed in 2012, and the legislature messed it up. And it took until about 2016 for the Supreme Court to realize, yeah, this law is wrong. you can't be charging all these people with a felony for stealing over $500. It can only be a misdemeanor. And so ultimately, the woman that I'm writing about, Inez Bordeaux, was able to, because of the help of a public defender named Sean Milford, get her record wiped clean. Went before a judge, pointed out that it shouldn't have been a felony. She had already served enough time, wiped her clean, done with probation, everything else. She's still trying to rebuild her life. She was homeless for 3 years. One mistake led to all of this. And the point of the column is, when a poor person makes a mistake, the state punishes them and punishes them hard. But when the state makes a mistake, the legislature, the prosecutor, the long arm of the government, nobody's being punished. Nobody's going to Inez or the other people like her where they messed up her life and said, you know what, we're sorry, we screwed up. What can we do to help? It's another example of how we criminalize the very act of being poor. And it's not just a St. Louis problem or a Missouri problem. It's a national problem.
Yeah.
And it's sad because here was a woman who had a job, who had ambition, who ran into some difficulties in life that were no fault of her own, made some of her own mistakes, and the state, the government, the prosecutor made it harder for her to move on from her mistakes. And it's a really unfortunate situation.
Well, it seems like I get the point where she had daycare through the state, got a job, and she made the $50 over the allotted amount. But your point is valid. Okay, great. Let me quit the job, and I can take care of my kids, or have a job, and what do I do with my kids? So it's a no-win situation there.
It's a problem. Years ago, when I was in Colombia, I wrote about something similar. There was a married couple that both had relatively menial, minimum wage type jobs. They both got a promotion. One worked in a kitchen somewhere. One worked at a restaurant. They both got a promotion, and all of a sudden, they made like $1 or $2 more, too much an hour to get they were in state housing. They had child care, and it wasn't like, great, you got a promotion, we're going to cut your aid down from $600 a month to $400 a month, and you pick up that extra,
right.
and we help you get. It's all or nothing, and so they got a little bit of a raise to make $50 more a month, and all of a sudden they were faced with losing their housing, losing their daycare. So what they do, the woman decides, I can't take my raise. I'm turning down an opportunity to improve myself. That's a broken system, and we've been that way for a long time. I have long advocated that all of our safety net programs have sort of a sliding scale situation so that we're actually rewarding people, and every time they make a little bit more money, then they have to contribute a little bit more, and it helps pull people out of poverty rather than simply punishing them for their own success.
Tony Messenger, STLtoday.com, and with us every Tuesday and Thursday. Have a good week, Tony. Thanks.